We're here with Byron Scott, obviously an incredible basketball player. Before was a coach and a coach for a ton of teams, and I got all kinds of stats here that I could read if you need the ego to be bigger and full. But man, I love all the stuff you did in sports. But if I could, I want to actually take a little bit of a different path, man.
Okay.
I like talking about before people knew kind of the Byron Scott we all see and you see on TV. If you could, what was it like growing up, Byron Scott? You grew up poor family, middle class. What was it like?
I would say middle class.
Middle class?
I think my mom and dad got me out of LA. I was in the heart of LA, South Central LA.
Okay. You were the heart.
It was lower class when I was young. By the time I got to elementary school, my dad, who worked for Hughes Aircraft, moved us to Inglewood. And we were like, at that time, moving from South Central to Inglewood was like going to Beverly Hills. You know what I mean? So we were extremely happy to do that, and make that move. And that's when I kind of discovered who I was as a basketball player.
Okay.
I was only 12 years old when I told my mom I wanted to be a professional basketball player.
All right.
And I would go in the backyard and just shoot in a trash can full of grass.
Yeah.
Because I didn't have a hoop.
Okay.
And so I really got into basketball that way, and just continued to develop a love for it until I got to junior high, then high school, and obviously colleges and the pros. When
you think about growing up as a young kid and shooting hoops in a trash can grass you're talking about, obviously all kinds of kids, they struggle, they go through different things and ups and downs and all different levels of it. What's something that you would tell a young kid watching right now that's going through a tough time or struggle about how to persevere or succeed as a young kid?
I'm just kind of telling from my experience.
Yeah, absolutely.
Of being a young kid and having those dreams. Continue to dream.
Okay, dreams.
That's the big thing. If you have a dream about being in professional sports or professional businessman or whatever that choice that you have, keep that dream big. Continue to dream big and don't allow anything to stop you. Don't allow any of the naysayers, anybody that's negative around you to tell you can't do it. Matter of fact, those people make that be your fuel.
Okay.
To drive you to even more so. Because I had people, in junior high and high school that was like, "Man, you're not making it to the NBA." And that kept motivating me to get better and better. So for young kids out there that want to be a professional athletes, want to be a professional sports, just keep that drive and keep that dream going. Don't allow anybody to tell you that you can't do it.
I love it. You talk about that dream and keeping that passion alive and using it as fuel. Whether in business or just in life, and it doesn't matter. In kids growing up, there's a lot of peer pressure, and you think about how do you succeed and how do you make it. Especially today's, you think about young people today, and social media and all that stuff that goes cyberbullying. It's like we didn't grow up with it, and it was nothing like that. It was like passing a note in class. It's about what we had. And I always think about children, man. Talk about flipping it over now, about being a father. Talk about that. So when you talk about, let me just ask you this, when you hear the word father, what's the first feeling that comes up when you hear the word father?
Responsibility.
Ooh, good word.
First thing that comes in my mind, when you're a father, responsibility goes from thinking about you to thinking about him or her or them, as a family. And, I know when I became a father, everything changed for me as far as my perspective on life. I got to provide for them. I want them to have a better opportunity than I had growing up. I want them to have things that I wasn't able to get when I was young. I want to be able to provide that for them. So, the first word that comes to mind for me always is responsibility. Responsibility.
It's a powerful word because it changes what you do. It changes when you wake up. What's your focus?
Your focus is not you anymore.
Exactly.
It's not when you got kids, that focus is off you anymore.
Right.
You wake up every morning trying to figure out how you're going to make life better for them. So playing basketball, when I got to that level, and then I started having a family, when I would step on the court, it was more of an attitude that I got to play this game well and do well myself because I got to continue to bring your food on the table. Milk home for the kids.
For sure.
So that responsibility of going out and making sure that you provide for your family was huge. So that's the word that comes.
I love the word, and it's a fabric of our society is responsibility. When you talk about when I hear the word providing for your kids and changing the responsibility, talk to me about maybe one of the a fun time, like a fun memory that maybe none of us ever got to share, and although we all follow you, but what's a fun memory that you have as a father that just pops in your head with a kid?
I got a few of them, but
sure.
My oldest son, who's now 39, Thomas. I remember he came home from school one day.
All right.
And he said,
how old was he?
He was probably in the 5th grade.
Okay, all right.
And he came home from school one day and he said, Dad, the kids in school say we rich. Are we rich? And I said, no. Me and your mommy rich. You don't have nothing. You don't have nothing. Everything you got, we done gave you.
Yeah.
So no, you're not rich. We rich. That was one of the funniest things I remember with my oldest son. And then another one was when he was in about the 5th, 6th grade.
All right.
We would go to stores and he would see stuff and he said, Dad, I want that.
Yeah.
And my question was always, do you want it or do you need it?
Okay, want or need?
Want or need. I said, because if you really want it, what are you going to do to get it?
Yeah.
So you got chores around the house that you're going to have to do so you can earn that money to get it.
Yeah.
I wanted him to understand that everything that you want, you got to work for it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to just give you everything. You got to work for it. So those were, that was one of the lessons I tried to teach him when he was growing up. And then, the funny story, I didn't think we're rich. I said, no, you don't have a damn dime. Me and your mommy are rich,
Now, when I hear that story, the thought goes through my head is, although it's a great funny story, it's also a lot of truth.
Oh, no doubt.
A lot of truth to it.
No doubt about it.
Because there's always the first kind of generation that breaks out and breaks the generation curse, if you will, and then there's the second generation, and it's a different game for them, and they go through different things that maybe as first generation we didn't have to go through, but they got to go through. And I think there's a lot of truth in what you were saying there about need and want, and then I may be rich, but that doesn't mean that you're rich right there. Let me ask you this, coming to the end here. If you were talking to a young man in his early 20s, maybe coming out of college, where it may be, that's entering into fatherhood, what's something that you would tell them as advice of how to be a good father?
I think one of the first things I would tell them is just don't take anything for granted.
Don't take it for granted.
Don't take it for granted.
I like that.
Being a father is a privilege.
Yeah, that's good.
You know what I'm saying?
That's good.
And if you're blessed to be in that position and blessed to get your knowledge, pass it down to the next generation. Again, we go back to it's your responsibility to do that.
Yeah.
So just don't take anything for granted. And make sure that your daughter and your son understand that you're doing everything you can to make sure that life is going to be better for them, and you want them to pass it down to their kids when they have a family as well. I like that.
Last little topic I want to talk to you about is, again, just behind the scenes with you and trying to help other young men and women out there. I want to talk about being a partner, being a husband. I mean, your wife is actually here and has a camera and so forth on you, but what is that like, being a partner, being a husband?
It's one of the best joys in the world when you find the right person.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And like you said, a marriage is more of a partnership.
Yeah, sure.
And you got to find somebody that's compatible with you.
Yeah. There's going to be ups, downs,
and all that stuff disappears after a while. If you don't have a good relationship, a good friendship. And my wife and I, when we first met, we became friends.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
And I think that's the best way to start.
Start with friends.
Start being friends first. And she's somebody that I know, she's got my back, I got her back, and we laugh together a lot. And I think that's so important in a relationship. You gotta have laughter, man. You gotta have fun.
It's good for the heart.
It's great for the heart.
Yeah.
So, when you find that person that's compatible with you, make sure you hold on to it for dear life.
Yeah, I love it, man. You got such good advice. I guess it's probably a little bit of the coach coming out of you, coming out of it. Again, let's give some advice to the young men and women out there today. Those young men that are about to get married. They're entering into a relationship. What's something they can do to make sure they have their priorities straight and understand the importance of a relationship and a partnership that they're moving into? What's something they can do as a young man?
You know what, I think as a young man, when you go into a relationship or you're about to get married, the first thing you got to do is make sure you put God first.
Oh, that's good.
You got to put God first.
Yeah.
If he's the head of your household, you're in good shape right there. You got a good start.
Yeah.
And then you go back to, everything she says, she's going to think she's right anyway. So let her think she's right most of the time. Let her think she's right most of the time.
Yeah.
But again, it goes back to that, compatibility. You got to find somebody that you get along with, somebody that you can have fun with, somebody that you can bounce things off of, she can bounce things off of you. But again, you got to take it serious.
I want to ask
you got to take it serious.
I want to ask you this question. You brought up having God first, and I love that. And sometimes, if you don't have that viewpoint or thoughts, it sounds a little bit like, well, I should have my wife first in the relationship. And I understand when someone says that, but why is it so important to have God first when you said that? Why for you, and everybody has their own opinion, I'm not trying to change it, but for you, why is that so important for you? I mean, I agree with you, but why is that there?
Well, for me, I had to find a wife that I knew that was a God-fearing wife anyway.
Interesting.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And I found that woman.
That's awesome.
You know, so we both put God first before we put us.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
And in our household, you know, especially when I was growing up, it was always God. And for me, it was God, basketball, whatever else.
Yeah.
You know? And it stayed that way.
Yeah.
Over the years. Now it's more like God, and then my wife.
Sure.
And then my family.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And it's just important to have that relationship with your Heavenly Father.
Yeah.
Because there's going to become a time in the relationship where you guys will have to make a decision.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You're going to have to make some decisions. And some of those decisions are going to be very popular.
I think it's a good point when you said that both of you put God first.
Absolutely.
It's not just that you're doing it and then she's putting you first.
No.
It's the point of that you both have the same viewpoint, the same belief, so that when those tough decisions come,
absolutely.
it helps bridge those when you're on the same page.
Absolutely, and we pray about everything.
Yeah,
especially
I love that.
Doing some of these things business-wise.
Sure.
You know, we pray on it.
Yeah.
I will say, let's see if this is the right thing for us to do. Let's pray on it and make sure this is the right decision to make.
Wow.
So we are in cahoots together with everything.
That's
we do,
awesome.
and I think that's if you have that relationship, it's a beautiful thing.
That is awesome. Last question I got for you. Well, I think I got two. Number one, I got to ask you. We're here, Super Bowl.
Yes, sir.
Now we're in LA.
Yes, sir.
Beautiful town, beautiful weather. I came from Utah, and I came at like 28 degrees.
Yeah. You didn't have to bring on the winter clothes. Right?
So you got LA and you got Bengals.
Yeah.
Who do you got? I think I got a gut feeling,
well,
but
you know what? I live here in LA. I'm from LA, but everybody that really knows me knows I'm a big Steelers fan.
Right. Okay.
I'm a huge Steelers.
All right.
I'm a huge Steelers fan since I was 12 years old.
Yeah.
But I got to go with the Rams.
Okay. I
got to go with the home team. They at home. They playing in SoFi. It's a beautiful stadium. But I'm scared as hell of Joe Burrow.
Everybody's scared, dude.
And Joe is so nice.
Oh.
You know, Cincinnati, they got that belief, you know, that it's their time.
Yeah.
You know, so I think it's going to be a high scoring game. I think it's going to be like 30-24. That's my prediction. I think the Rams win at 30-24.
30-24 Rams. Last question I got for you, a little bit back to the more serious stuff in life. When Byron's, it's all said and done, and you're on your deathbed at 120 years old, if all your, of course, family and friends, but also just people that followed you, that just from a distance saw you, what would be one word that you would want them to know you as?
Humility.
Humility. Wow.
Humility.
That's a good word.
Yeah.
What? You said it quick.
Because my mom told me when I was very young, you know, I know you play basketball.
Yeah.
You're doing good, but just remember, you ain't better than nobody else.
Wow.
When I made it to NBA, you know, she said, I want to remind you.
Oh, Mom.
You made it to the NBA, and that's great. You're doing great. But you are still no better than anybody else. I want you to treat people the way you want them to treat you.
Wow.
And I remember that from day one. And being humble is something that my mom, before she passed, she's extremely proud of me for staying the person that I am. You know, I haven't changed. I had lunch with a buddy of mine that I've known since I was 12 years old.
Yeah.
He is a childhood friend.
Right.
And he's one of the things he said at breakfast. He said, "B, you ain't changed."
Yeah.
And that right there meant more to me than anything else.
One of the best compliments that you could have got.
I've ever got.
Yeah.
That I haven't changed. So being humble and that humility is something that I would love for people to remember.
I love that word, man. Brian, I love the interview, man. I love talking about more sports stuff, but I like to get to know behind the scenes and have the coach come out on the important stuff of life. Brian, I appreciate it, brother.
My pleasure.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.